Thank you. Well, hello. Yeah. Right. Thank you. That's for me. That's been great. You know, I may be in the latter years of my revolutionary life, but I've never stopped being a revolutionary, and I have a real passion for making a difference in people's lives in whatever field of endeavour I'm involved with. And for me, Socitm has never been a more relevant organisation, as we've heard in areas like health and social care, integration, which is an area we're working in heavily at the moment. Adult care assessments, becoming an doctor, safeguarding, discharging from hospital. But actually, those aren't services. They're actually barriers that we can put in place to service, to good service. And the great thing, I think, for us as revolutionaries is there's no shortage of flawed services. You know, I was talking to Solace just the other week, chief execs at their conference. We have disjointed services. We have services that suffer from process accretion over many years, that suffer from duplication of data. Duplication of data collection is absolutely right. They're producer-led, they're high cost, they atomise the individual rather than personalising the outcome. And as speakers have shared earlier, you know, service, product and organisational design need to be at the heart of the reform of public services and local public services. Customer needs, not business needs. Seeding skills and mindsets. Now all of these are areas where Socitm can champion, can build voice and leadership and accelerate great practice in places, in localities, with citizens, not for citizens. And I think we can be proud of what Socitm has done over many years. There's lots to be proud of, but equally there's no room for complacency. So we carry on changing, not standing still, and in this session briefly we want to touch on two new developments, exciting developments I think, in the range of services that we provide with you as members. So first of all, the changes to Better Connected, and secondly, our Leadership Academy and the links with the Women in IT theme. So Vicky, yes, hello. So Vicky Sargent, who many of you will know, is leading the work that we're doing on Better Connected, and she'll just say briefly, give you a brief update as to what's been happening and the opportunities that are now presented.
Okay, great. We've been told we've got to get out of here, but more importantly, the bar is going to be open in a few minutes. So I'm going to be really brief. First of all, I'm not going to show you any more stuff about Better Connected because you can now see it on one of these, which is great. So go to betterconnected.socitm.net, have a trawl through. I'll be here tomorrow. I'm really interested and keen to have your feedback. The feedback we've had so far has been really, really good. Just to touch on 2 or 3 key things that we wanted to do with Better Connected to take it forward. The first is the focus on services. We've heard a lot about that today. But rather than do what Better Connected traditionally did, which was to announce once a year who'd got 4 stars, and there weren't very many of them, what we're now going to do is do surveys on people's websites throughout the year, looking at individual tasks, as we've already done, but publishing those as soon as we've done them. So imminent is publication of our survey that we've completed about applying for an older person's bus pass. So that will be coming out in the next week to 10 days. We've also got pay a parking ticket online, you'll all be pleased to hear. Actually, councils are really good at that. They're really good at collecting the money, possibly the 2 things are connected. So we'll be rolling out those surveys throughout the year, and that will enable, I think, focus on on the detail of what people are doing there, rather than on the wrong thing, which is like who came out top. Because Better Connected has always been full of absolutely fantastic information about the things that people do that they ought really to be doing differently. So that focus on service is absolutely the key thing. And one of the things that is also going to do, we hope, is engage more with service managers, rather than them being able to say, oh, Better Connected, that's really the web manager's issue, it's nothing to do with me. We all know that it's everything to do with the service managers, so that's another big thing that we want to get across. The other thing is we've simplified it a lot. You have to simplify it a lot if you want people to read it on your phone, obviously. And we hope by that simplification that we will get the data to many senior people. It'll be very easy now for the chief executive to find their page on the web which will tell them how their council is doing on key things like, is their website accessible from a mobile phone, and so on. So that simplification, we hope, is going to make a difference. One other thing that we're doing is setting the performance of the web and digital service in some kind of context. So along with the data about the website, we will be publishing some open data about the levels of deprivation in that local authority area, how they're doing on other aspects of digital, Twitter followers, etc., etc. So not just sort of putting it in a wider context, really. And the final thing I wanted to mention is that as part of the new design, every council will get the opportunity to answer back. So there will be a comment facility on every council's page, where, if something hasn't gone too well, they'll be able to say, well, actually, we recognise that's an issue and we're in the middle of an upgrade of that part of the site, or we're about to undergo mobile accessibility, or whatever it is, so that we can begin to engage in much more of a dialogue. I think in the past it has been a little bit of a kind of, Socitm has pronounced that your site is only worth 2 stars. Now we want to engage people much more in the detail of the conversation, not just a judgment, if you like. So anyway, you can see all of that for yourselves. Do go and have a look. Do come and talk to me. Really, really keen to get your feedback. Thank you.
And Steve Cliff, if you'd like to share some of the developments happening with the Leadership Academy and within IT.
Thank you, Martin. Right, so I think I've got 3.5 minutes to get out of the way between you and the drinks. I've been working with Socitm now for 6 months. I'm setting up and building what's being called the Leadership Academy. And the one thing that's resonated with me today was something that Dominic said earlier. And he mentioned the human being that kind of gets in the way, or humanity that gets in the way of achieving some of the projects and some of the delivery that we're trying to achieve. So the Leadership Academy is pretty much about people. Okay? The big thing that we say, oh yes, it's about the people, it's about the culture, how do we change it? Well, it needs to change. But then we carry on talking about collaboration tools, technology, networks, best practice, all those good things. Now I think there's probably 5 or 6 people in this room that have been on the Top Talent Leadership Programme that we initiated, I think 4 years ago now. And there are about 100 graduates, some of which are in this room. I think I've counted about 6, who've been through a leadership development programme to help to build the skills that are needed to make that cultural change. So Leadership Academy is about people. It's about bringing the humanness or the humanity back into how we actually get things done. To that end, we are keeping going with the Top Talent programme. We're running it in Scotland this year, looking to run 2 more next year. We have initiated a big new programme this year. I've worked very closely with Nadira. She's mentioned it already. A women's leadership programme called Empowering Women in a Digital World. Quite a mouthful, but I think I just about got it. So really, what is that about? Well, I think Nadira's passion came across this morning, and it's come across in so many things that she's done. And for those of you that don't believe we need to fix this, then we go to any conference like this and look around the room, look at what needs to be done with collaboration, what needs to be done with human beings, what needs to be done to break down hierarchies and silos and all those things, and you'll realise that not only do we need leadership, but we need women in leadership as well. So the Empowering Women in a Digital World programme is all about creating role models, I like to think of them ambassadors, to actually make it look okay for a young female entering the IT profession, that hey, there's people that do this. I can go to conferences and people are doing creative, powerful, influential things around digital IT professional roles. I've got 2 daughters myself, one of whom's 14, and I'm also a STEM ambassador in our local school. It is critical that we harness the skills of our female colleagues, all ages, everyone you can think of needs to contribute to the problems that we're facing. But it boils down to people, it boils down to leadership skills, In the Leadership Academy, we now have the Top Talent Programme, the Women's Leadership course. We offer mentoring and coaching programs for specific individuals or teams that are facing a blockage, which could be, we've got this big project, it's expanding, but we're struggling because there's a bit of a blame culture, or the silos can't work together, or it's just not working. Okay? So we're here to help unblock those digital projects that are failing. Sometimes it'll be a design issue that Dominic referred to, but most of the time, I think all of us have seen, it comes down to people. And if you believe that, then come and talk to me. I'd be really keen to hear ideas on what we can do to help you to change the culture and make your projects more effective. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Present. But I think on that note, Brian, it's probably time to take our passion to the bar.
Yes, thank you, Martin. Thank you to all our speakers today. It's been an interesting afternoon. Don't forget, tomorrow morning we will be back here at 9:30 sharp to start off. Drinks are outside, dinner will be back in this room later on. Have a splendid evening, everybody. See you in the morning.